Micah versus Perry.
What?
Oh no, this is cold.
Guys,
Oh my god.
You literally asked for this
Micah.
in the in the green room. You
Okay,
literally asked
do
for
it.
this.
well,
So-
I was
Do
like, if
it.
it happens, just so
If it
chat
happens
knows,
is what we said actually.
I need chat to
can't
know
say
the
that around
stakes
that.
that are at hand here. So Perry's one of my
So
best
high.
friends IRL. So like we could lose our friendship over this. Like there's a lot on the line. So here we go.
High stakes.
Okay.
I feel like
so
these two argue IRL regardless.
your topic is
Do it.
this is an open-ended question. What is one thing that you would ban or make illegal? Can
Oh,
literally
I
be
would
anything.
ban-
Can
so I
literally
would-
be anything.
I would
I'd
ban.
ban,
I'd ban.
Okay, I didn't
Yeah,
ask
yeah,
any of
you're
you.
not-
I
you're
didn't
not.
ask any of you.
We ask, can
I
all
don't
of us
want work
answer
on my.
this?
I
No
work-
shot.
No.
Get out of here. This is between Perry and Micah. Somebody call the coin flip.
Heads.
Tails.
You didn't- okay.
You need to. It is tails. So Perry, first or second?
I'll go second.
All right. Perry has elected to go second. Let's get both of you pinned really quick and remove AFK Earthly. Timer is going up. 1 minute 30 on the clock. Micah, you are the first up, and your time begins now.
Okay. Make it illegal or what?
Or just ban anything.
Ban. I think that it should be illegal and banned to, man, there's so many things I want to be illegal or banned, so it's really hard to choose. But I think that can I do like laws?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
revoke laws?
yeah. Just make something.
Time's
You get
ticking.
one shot. Time's ticking.
Okay.
Time's ticking.
Okay. I'm trying to. Okay. So I think that there's so many things I want to ban.
This is a hard one.
I know. I think that it should be. I think that it should be banned. To have a statute of limitations on sex crimes throughout the United States. So right now, the way the law stands is that after a year after a sex crime is committed, you can no longer press charges for that. There are some loopholes when you don't have the if you're not able to report for some reason, which does happen. But so like if somebody was hypothetically had a sex crime against them when they were a child, in most states there is some revoking for minors right now going through legislation, and some of those have passed in some states. But if like a sex crime was committed against you as a child and as an adult you're able to report it, you can't because of the statute of limitations.
And that is time. So you can come back to that. 1 minute 30 over to Perry. Your time begins now.
Okay, this is something that has bugged me, especially just in the rise of social media. And I totally get that, like, if you're in a public space, right, like you're on public property, it is completely, in most cases, legal for someone to record you and then post that video or that picture on the internet to do whatever they want with it. And I just think that that's so messed up in so many ways. I think it can be very beneficial in cases like when there's something bad going on, like police brutality. Some of the videos that have come on have helped those cases. But there are so many times where people are just downright bullied or embarrassed or attacked for something that they did in public, and they didn't give their consent to be recorded or have their pictures taken. And that really bugs me in so many cases because I don't see why that's okay. I don't see why we can't revise and reform this in some way that when it is abused in that way to belittle or demean someone or ruin their reputation or just when they don't deserve it, right? I think that that's something that we can definitely look at in regards to the legality of it or how it's handled when it happens. It's a case-by-case basis, obviously, but there's just so many things that should not be on the internet without that person's consent. And it's something that really bothers me.
All right. Right on the dot there. 1 minute 30. Micah, back over to you. Your time begins now.
I really like that argument, Perry, and there's definitely parts of that I very much agree with. So I'd like to go over some other reasons why it's important to lift the statute of limitations on sex crimes, and then I'll touch on some of the points against Perry's argument. So another reason why it's important to lift the statute of limitations on sex crimes is, although right now it's lifted for minors in many states, that it still exists for ages over the age of 18. And there are psychological reasons why people are not able to report sex crimes at an older age. It takes a long time to process that trauma and feel safe to report. And you can Google numerous studies on this, on why it's really difficult for victims to report sex crimes within a year of it occurring. And so a lot of states have lifted the statute of limitations for a year versus for forever. And so they are seeing that there are reasons to lift it, but there could be much more being done, and that's why I think it should be banned. So as far as recording, I think that recording, like Perry did say, can be really important too. It can be really vital, especially in the cases we've seen through 2020 with police brutality and things along those lines. Now, there is an argument about your privacy and being recorded. I think that if you are not on public property, you shouldn't be recorded because you're in your private place. But if you are in public, the way that you're behaving, you have to be accountable for. So if you're going to be acting inappropriately in public and you're recorded, don't do something that you don't want everyone to know about. That's just how I feel about it. And I think that's valid. You should be comfortable with it.
And that is time. 1 minute 30. Back over to Perry. Your time begins now.
Yeah, like, I think that we absolutely should hold people accountable, and like that's why it's a case-by-case basis. I'm talking about people who are fat-shaming people. They are ugly, like they're calling them ugly and just like posting their pictures and videos on the internet, literally just for the sake of shaming them for how they look. That's not okay. That is bordering on like things that are already illegal, like, you know, defamation and things like that. We have entire websites that are completely devoted just basing on people who are in public minding their own business, and then they like go viral, become a meme or something like that. Like, that's more so what I'm referring to. You know, I think that it's something that in the rise of social media and the popularity of, you know, just the internet in general, has become more and more of a problem because people want those likes, they want those views, and a lot of that comes at the expense of another person just based on arbitrary things like how they are, just how they present themselves in public, not necessarily because they're doing anything to deserve this, not necessarily that they're doing anything that they need to be held accountable for, but that they are a person in public. And of course there are, you know, there's a loss of privacy when you go in public and are in a public place. But I just think that that's something that we need to address, is people who are suicidal and get bullied and because of these things that end up on the internet without their consent and without them doing anything to deserve it.
All right. Right on the dot once again. 1 minute back and forth between you two. Your times begin now.
I have a question for you, Perry, just to clarify. So originally your argument was about banning video of persons in public, but without their consent. But now it's kind of morphed more into banning abusive content online. So if somebody's being abused either mentally or physically in a video without their consent, and that's posted online, correct?
Well, I mean, if you like post a picture of someone and you're like, look at this person, look how ridiculous they look. I mean, it obviously can get very, very antagonistic and abusive, and that person did nothing to deserve that. I think it's a case-by-case basis, and I think that when it's something like that, that is literally not benefiting anyone in any way, it's just trying to ruin this person to get likes or whatever, or just be mean and be a troll. Like, that's really what I think is a lot of the issue.
I think that type of content is already banned on a lot of platforms, but I could see maybe if the argument was about making it illegal so that they would incur like actual.
And that's time. 3 minute discussion. Judges, the floor is yours. Your time begins now.
Perry, I love you.
I love you too.
I have a question for both of you.
Yes.
Yes, my dear. Yes, my darling. What is it?
Perry, for you, how would you go about creating structure to ban photos and whatnot in public that are then used to antagonize people? How would you go about banning that without disrupting the public domain and like common ground law? And then Micah, what would you do to replace the statute of limitations? Would you replace it with anything, or would you create any sort of structure around that? Go.
I'm ready to answer if you need time, Perry.
No, I think if it comes down to moderation. Obviously, I think it comes down to if this person is being, if they're complaining and they are upset that a photo or a video of them has been posted and it's just people like attacking them when they've done nothing wrong, it should be handled. If they're not bothered by it, if it's not bothering them, then it's another case. But if it's something that they are bringing as an issue, it should be able to be addressed without people being like, oh, well, it's allowed because you were in public. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we have like websites like People of Walmart. A local like blog in my state literally has an annual series where they take photos of people at the state fair just having fun and make fun of how they look. I think that is what is messed up. It's a case-by-case basis, like I said, but there are steps where we can, if that person comes forward and complains, they should be protected.
People of Walmart, I really hope that ends up being my claim to fame. I really want them to roast me. No cap. Okay, so as far as a replacement or policy for lifting the statute of limitations. So lifting the statute of limitations means removing that policy, the policy that's in place to only give people a year to report. So right now they're replacing it with things such as like giving people an open year to report. So all the cases that haven't been able to go through can go through for a year. But some places are lifting it completely for minors or for all ages. And so I'd like to lift it for all ages and allow persons to go through that court process and either settle or go through the actual court to come to a conclusion. And so the replacement for lifting the statute of limitations, it's not like, you know, innocent people are going to be all of a sudden charged. They're going to go through this meticulous court process. So if somebody accuses you of sexual assault or something along those lines, or even sexual harassment in like the school place, for example, there'll be an opportunity for both sides to share evidence and do discovery with their lawyers and either do a settlement so that both parties are a little bit more at ease, or go through the full court process. And so that way justice is.
So it's more like reform rather than like banning or making something illegal.
It should be.
And that is time. We must go on to voting. No more discussion on this matter. I already have the poll ready. Chat, who won? Was it Perry Nova or was it Michael Lightning? You decide, as well as the judges on this panel. Let's go down the list. Let's start with Bomb Diggy this time. Bomb, who do you think did it better?
In just terms of, well, okay. It's hard for me because I'm scared I'm a little biased on what Perry said, because I mean, you're almost low-key coming at live streamers on a live streaming platform. So I actually give you props for the balls on that. And so I like that you are pushing for that, but just logistically, I don't see how that would be implemented other than the fact that currently, if that's their main focus on content, you can issue a takedown. And now is probably a great time because DMCAs and all that stuff is just, copyright is the meta
Just
right
get
now.
them while it's hot.
So it was really hard for me to separate the biasm, but I think Micah just seems like she's already has like research on how she'd go about with that plan. So just for backing up purposes, I'd say Micah.
Micah. All right, one vote for Micah. Let's move on. Lustakar, who did it better?
Told ya.
All right, so look, I wholeheartedly agree with both people. And I love the way that they, okay, I'm not going to say I love. I like the way that they portrayed their thoughts and concerns. And I've said this on previous shows and previous arguments. I am a stickler for logical debates. I like numbers. I like solutions. I like answers. I don't like emotions. I don't like hysteria.
This man.
Here.
Okay.
So I don't like when arguments are brought up because of emotion. I like arguments that are brought up because of logic. So I am going to side with Micah. However, I do want to also state that it is not okay for somebody to take a picture of somebody at a fair and, you know, start bullying them online or whatever the case may be, talking shit about that person, that is a shitty thing. That is 100% a shitty thing.
Absolutely.
However, if you're a Karen at a restaurant yelling at people, causing a scene when you're 100% wrong and you get recorded, you can't be mad. You should be held accountable. So those are my viewpoints. So,
All right. 2 for Micah.
Micah.
Thank you. Let's go to Ziggy. Ziggy, who did it better?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, man. I don't know what the fuck they were talking about. I thought I was in a college seminar, you know. They were just like, I was like, I don't know what. I just don't know. I'm gonna have to go with Perry though. She laid it down tonight. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Next up, Coriander, who did it better?
I'm gonna give my vote to Micah because I thought you both had good arguments. I feel like Micah had a full structure and like solution for it. I feel like at some point, Perry, while I like respected your argument, I feel like at some point it changed and it was less about public photos and it seemed more about like morality of like using social media and posting. So I feel like your argument kind of was shifting versus Micah's was a bit more solid. I was keeping my bias out of it, but I loved both of your arguments. And I'll use emotions.
All right. So that's another one from Micah. Next, you guys camming up and camming down is confusing the shit out of me when I'm trying to like get everybody to vote. Earthly, who did it better?
So I did zone out a decent bit through the first portion of it, but listening to the arguments for what I was able to hear, I'd probably lean a little bit more towards Micah just because like I think she kind of had like a better like foundation for like sort of understanding what the issue was, because like, you know, with like Perry's examples of like, oh well, like it would be fucked up if you like took pictures of people just to make fun of them and stuff, but like in that case, like the issue is just with harassment, like just being able to single that out and not like sort of overcomplicate everything else with like I don't know, man. I'm going with Micah though.
All right. Pick start. You there?
Yes.
Who did it better?
I'm here. I definitely think that Micah did it better. I think that her argument was much more formulated and laid out properly. I'm not saying I do think that Paranova did a great job with their argument as well, but I do think that Micah definitely took it here.
All right. So with that, Micah has taken with chat vote the second round of the second debate of round one. I need to figure out a different word to call these rounds. So Micah, congratulations.
Hustle.